In this video, we'll look at the rectangle tools and the polygon tool in AutoCAD. These tools can be a quick way to draw symmetrical or regular polygons or squares and rectangles with joined lines similar to how they would be if we drew them using the polyline tool. We'll look at the rectangle tool first. So the rectangle tool is located right up here in your drawing panel, and its keyboard shortcut is REC. Enter. Like many of the tools we've looked at already, and tools we'll continue to look at, it is helpful to look in the command bar when you are trying to learn tools, as the command bar will tell you what to do next. So the first step of the rectangle tool is to specify a corner or a point that we'd like to start with. So I'm just going to click to start, move my mouse in the direction I want to draw my rectangle, and then I can type in my length and my height. So I'll first type in a length amount. I'm just going to make it 20. And then in order to type in my height, I'm going to hit the tab key on my keyboard, and then I can type in a height dimension and press enter on your keyboard to make the rectangle. So again, that's to go into the rectangle tool, and then a point where we'd like to start our rectangle, and then what we would like for our width. So in this case, I'll do 10, and then tab, what we'd like as our height, and then enter to finish it. Now there are several different settings within the rectangle that we can define, so I'll go back into the tool again. This time I'll use a super shortcut, where since the very last tool I used was rectangle, if I just hit enter, it'll bring me right back into the rectangle tool. And I can apply a fillet or a curved corner to it. So I can say that I want a curve of 2 with a radius of 2 on the corners. And then when I go to draw my rectangle, it'll automatically put a curved corner of 2 on each. However, when I'm typing in my length and my height, it still is going from the absolute edge to absolute edge. So it's not counting that corner in there. So again, I'll just type in what I want for my length, tab, and this time I'll just do a 10 by 10 square. And what I want for my height, enter. And I can just have those curved corners in there pretty easily. Whoops, I accidentally adjusted that. Hold on, let me shuffle through this. There we go. Now, another tool that works similarly to how rectangle works is the polygon tool. Now, for the button for polygon, you actually have to click on this little arrow underneath rectangle, and that gives you the ability to see the polygon tool. But once I'm in polygon, this button now switches over to polygon instead of rectangle. So the first step of polygon is to enter in the number of sides you want your shape to have. So depending on what you're going to make is how many sides you'll have. So I'll make a hexagon for this first example, and so I'll just type in that I want 6 sides, enter. And the next step is to specify a center point. So again, this could be based on a specific snap point, or it could be just in any area in general. Really depends on exactly what you're making. So I'll put mine just right on the corner of this shape, which let me actually move it over a little bit so the keyboard isn't in the way. And so I'll just click there for my center point. And now it's asking if I want my circle to be, or my polygon to be inscribed or circumscribed around a circle. So we can recall from the geometry lesson in Module 2 that an inscribed polygon is based on the length from corner to corner and sits inside a circle, and a circumscribed polygon is measured across the flats and sits outside of a circle. You would choose whether you want inscribed or circumscribed based on instructions or dimension you've been given. In this case, I'll just say that I want it to be inscribed in a circle, and now it is asking for what I want the radius to be. So I'll give it a radius of 3. Enter. And I've made a hexagon that has a radius of 3 from corner to center. One thing to keep in mind is that polygons can only be used to make regular polygons, which is a shape in which all of the edges are the same length and all of the angles are equal. So it cannot make an irregular polygon. So let's try another one. We'll do right over here. So this time I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut for polygon, which is P-O-L, enter. And again, it's prompting me how many sides do I want. In this one, I'll make an octagon. So I'll say 8, enter. It wants to know a center point. And so I'll do it based on the center of this curve. So if I hovered over this curve, the center point came up. And it's asking, do I want it inscribed or circumscribed, which again will be based off of the dimensions I'm given for whatever practice I'm doing. This time I'll do circumscribed. And I can click to go to a specific snap point. So I'll just snap it right to there. And I have an octagon made based on that center point. The polygon tool, just like with the rectangle tool, all of those lines are connected as if we drew them using polyline almost. So everything is one connective, cohesive piece, which can come in handy using some of those modify tools. But once we get into the modify lessons, we will go over that there are ways to break those lines apart if we need to. So now that you've been introduced to the rectangle and polygon tools, it's your turn to practice. So there is a drawing up in Canvas, which utilizes using several of these tools. For these practices, you're going to hopefully use the rectangle and the polygon tools, but you don't necessarily have to. And what I mean by that is that you could technically get all of the drawings done using just the line tool, just the polyline tool, and ultimately you would still get the same end result. But I encourage you to try out using the rectangle tool and the polygon tool to practice, just to make sure you're comfortable and familiar with them. Once you are done, make sure that you save your work and upload it to Canvas. And if you have any questions, reach out for help.